Says I'm live. We're live. We're going live. I'm live. Okay. So there's an interesting thing about game theory, and it's very, very relevant when you're thinking of how they presented Halo Infinity, because their map is ridiculously big, and yet if you actually compare it to the other campaigns, it's really not any bigger at all. Now, as a side note, inside the buildings in that game, it's almost better than being outside the buildings in that game, due to the fact that the fobs are OP and all that whatnot. But that's kind of beside the point right now. Now, what happens is when you have too high a quality of graphics on all your mountain ranges and everything, all of a sudden that is memory that's coming off your CD for the heat map that's on the CD, that's coming off your RAM drive and your ROM capacities for how much you can have in the world, and not just how much you can have at a temporary basis between load screens, but what you can have as a maximum sum that you want to have in an interactable, reasonable play rate. And then so questions are, how do you improve that quality? So as a game developer, there's some really important things to consider. Now, when you load up Halo Infinity, it's really easy to critique this game. So I'm just going to use it as kind of like a basis for general game theory. Every single match, no matter what, everything you're going to do is going to involve you being a Spartan against other Spartans. So why doesn't your Spartan, your character model should load immediately? It should be your primary lobby. Now you can say, but that's less interesting than looking at a picture, having a small sandbox that I can run around in. Because no matter what, you're going to have to move. You're going to, whether you're playing campaign or PvP or custom games, no matter what, you're going to have to move. So that should load immediately. That should be your main menu. Your character model should be the main menu. We're going to need an array of weapons. Those should all be available in the main menu in a sandbox where you can move around and pick them up, because none of that stuff is going to tax you at all. It's saving you time for when you're loading your game. So why don't we have that? Why isn't there a preliminary lobby where you get to play the game? You can have the opponents there where you queue them in and you shoot them and take them out and test your weapons. You have a gun sandbox as your primary menu while you're waiting for people. And when you find connections with people, it waits until they have a solid connection. You don't watch them glitch through shit until they have a decent connection. They're already in the lobby and their sandbox looks the exact same. Now you might be able to toggle your sandbox and their sandbox will be different than yours. And so I'm sorry, you're not entering the other guy's sandbox because you guys aren't loading the same map. So you guys are going to be at different locations and vectors on the map. And that's just going to look all screwed up. So we won't do it. Or you can just give them that and they can shoot each other even though they're behind walls in their own screen or something. The other guy's shooting because you're floating right in front of them. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that as your RAM goes, you're going to put that on your RAM. So why isn't it on your RAM? The fact that it's not on your RAM is stupid. And then so you can have a whole lobby of people come in, and that's not going to have any impact on the fact that you're loading the map. Oh, wait, but it can, because we have textures on our maps, and those textures can be preloaded in our menu. So Infinity is just produced by people that have seemingly no intuition, because their spatial management for movement speed and everything seems to be way off. They don't seem to be very innovative because they can't seem to write code easily enough to give us good playlists and give us an array of different things. But I don't know, maybe that's management, maybe that's communication on their end, maybe they're politically being assholes for some reason. Sorry about the swear, but if you drown profanity, you are so pathetic and Weasley and wild F you. But okay, so anyways, as far as the plot goes, the campaign was amazing in so many different ways. When you exclude the OP fobs and your meaningless Marines, every single Marine should have had his own profile and a limited life. And if you don't save him, you don't get him for the rest of the campaign, at least for the legendary playlist. You'd figure, right? And maybe it's a glitch where you can get every single Marine behind you. So long as you don't go to a fob, they don't queue out and check in and leave you. And then if you put them in a fob, you can only get 5 at a time. Because right now you can only get 5, and you leave them up on the mountain. You leave them here, there, and everywhere. Why would you leave the Marines behind? There's no reason to leave the Marines behind. You should be able to have 100% of them following you in the bare minimum if you don't go to a fob. But they all die permanently, and you don't have this infinite supply of Marines. They would just make the game way better. Okay, but as far as the plot goes, apparently they destroyed the Brute planet. That blew my mind. I was stoked to see the Brute planet. I'm looking at the Brute planet, I'm going, oh wow, that's cool. I'm like getting right into it, and they blow it up. Sorry about my hair here, dude. But yeah, and I thought, wow, now we don't get to go to the Brute Planet as a Halo spin-off campaign. Imagine like a Halo spin-off Covenant campaign where it's all melee and fists prior to the Covenant coming, and then you get to play as the Covenant as you're learning as a Sangheili what it means to be part of the Covenant, and so you get your armor. And so there's a reason for your grind, at least for the campaign, and your leveling system and progression for your armor, because you are being rewarded as a loyal advocate of the campaign that the Covenant are going on as you ascend through your ranks. And it's really easy to ascend through the initial ranks because you have no real competition. You're just awesome. And then so they give it to you because there's a bell curve. And then so as far as the bell curve goes, ah, the bell curve for the leveling system is absolutely ridiculous because like when I played Halo 3, I came from Halo 2, right? I came right from Halo 2 to Halo 3 the day it launched. I bought my Xbox 360. After I bought the game that day, I went home and I was playing against everyone who was good. And I never got a new account. I never boosted my account. And then so by the time I made it to level 37, the highest rank I made it to 100% through the grind, I was playing against the hardcore people that played every single day. I played more than a year worth of Halo 3. I clocked more than a year playing Halo 3. And I made it to level 37. I had a great kill death spread. I had like 1.4. I played tons of games. Like I played endlessly. And the reason why I only made it to level 37 is because I played with the people who are grinding. So that bell curve is ridiculous because when you have a booster account, you're playing against the scrubs at the low end, and then you're just shooting up. And it's just because you're whatever. Anyways, so as far as the game goes, ways that they need to improve it is they need a veto system. The veto system is incredible. You need to be able to choose to veto your map, and you have to choose to veto your game type. So people are advocating for a wide array of ranked play, like ranked matches, playlists, ranked playlists. And it's not entirely necessary. Like you don't need to have a sniper playlist. The sniper playlist can just go with VIP in King of the Hill. Those play types should be in it, but justified speaking, there's just so many different ways to work your ranked playlist that people don't need to choose exactly what they want to play because you're playing Halo. You're supposed to be good at the game. You're supposed to be playing against people who are good at the game. You're supposed to be ready for anything. The mission always changes, to quote the actual game itself, right? The mission. And then so your ability to veto those matches is something that they damn well better put in the game. Like, I'm just insanely annoyed that they don't have a carbine in the game on launch. That's like my favorite weapon. If you watch Halo 2 videos where you're the Arbiter and you're shooting the drones with a carbine, you're just like, yeah, I wish that was me right now. I can play that level, like, as we speak. Even though you don't actually want to, you should think about it. Anyways, I'd love to pause this video and go on about something else. But the point was that when you're making a game, everything that you need to load unconditionally to play the game should be your sandbox lobby. You should just run around with a gun, being able to sprint around your lobby, and you can have it so you can just press start and go through your menu and have your HUD display be your menu. Obviously, why not? But you can run over and see your armory for your Warthog and your Mongoose and everything just on the desktop because all those things are going to be in the next map that you click anyways. Aside from the fact that they don't have a 4v4 match with like good vehicle arrays. They have that one U, the horseshoe, which isn't terrible, but they don't have like 8v8 compatible 4v4 maps. And they don't have 8v8 compatible 12v12 maps. They've got some major issues over on their end. But mostly speaking, I just wanted to talk about that game theory about the menu and the plot with the Brute Planet. There's not going to be a book where you get to go to it anymore. There's not going to be a game where you get to go to it anymore. That was really, really sad for me. That was super conflicting, and it made no sense for Cortana to do that. Where in her programming would she come to the conclusion that, you know what, I'm going to barter with you. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to decide what's going on. Boop, I destroyed your planet because you said one thing. What the fuck? Aside from the fact that I actually love the war and the veto. So anyways, peace, guys. I hope some of that made sense to you. I hope my mic's coming through clear. I hope you have a good day. Now, where's the pause button? End stream. There it is.